voice is clear? It's loud enough, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, then I'll start.
Okay, madam. Everything is
Yes, sir.
clear. Your live stream is clear.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
I'll
everything is
start,
going
sir.
now. Ma'am. I'm assigning I'm giving you as a host, main host. I'm leaving now.
Okay. Okay,
Everything
sir.
is
Thank
going
you.
well. If you have any problem, just ask.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you. So today, that day we have seen cabbage. Cauliflower is there. I remember. I did not forget cauliflower. Actually, I was not getting the PPT which I made, so I just came up with minor cold crops today. So in minor cold crops, we generally major cold crops, that is cabbage and cauliflower, you need to go very in detail and read. But whereas for the minor cold crops, there is no such need. There are only limited number of crops that you need to read. So in that, we'll start firstly. So we all know that I have already discussed in the previous class of cabbage the Brassica U triangle, how the other different species of the Brassicaceae family have evolved, the genomic constitution, the alphabetic order. Also, you have to remember the chromosome number, that is also must and should. So similarly, we all know that all the cabbage, cauliflower, all they have come from the wild mustard. Wild mustard is the common ancestor or the progenitor. So from which the leafy types, the heading types all have evolved. So what we here in simple terms, you can see that from wild mustard, the selection of leaf is nothing but kale. The selection of axillary buds is Brussels sprout. The selection of apical tip means the apical tip, the bud, the leaf bud. The apical tip is cabbage. The inflorescence or the flower is the cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli. And the stem is nothing but Noel Rabi. So all of them have come from the selection of wild mustard. And the Brassica U triangle is different from this. That is also called as that Brassica triangle. You see the different species, how they have evolved from Brassica napus or the black mustard, all those species, how they have come, you see there. Means they have crossed. This is selection. This is natural selection process, how they have evolved. That is after crossing the natural cross, after the natural cross, what have evolved, that is the Brassica U triangle. And here we see that the general classification, we can see that family Brassicaceae, order Cruciferae, and the tribe is Brassicae, subtribe is Brassica. Rest all are not important for you. Nextly, coming to the minor cold crops, their scientific names and common chromosome numbers, and most importantly, modification. This economic part is the most important question they ask in exam. Economic part, and if it is minor crops, you need not go in very depth. It is rich in that, this, that is not required. If it is the minor crop, scientific name, chromosome number, modification, origin, these kind of basic things are very much enough for the minor crops. Taking a big book and reading all the this land has to be plowed for 10 to 4 times, this is not required if it is a minor crop. Try to churn out and save your time by reading efficiently. So sprouting broccoli, Brassica oleracea variety italica, Brussels sprout variety gemifera, Noel cole variety gangloid, scale Brassica oleracea variety acifala, and Chinese cabbage Campestre species chinense. And in this also we have different types, which I will tell in the coming up slides. So the sprouting broccoli, which is a modification of inflorescence, Brussels sprout is enlargement of axillary buds, and Noel cole is nothing but the stem, swollen stem. Kale is nothing but the leaf which is edible, and Chinese cabbage is nothing but also the compact head, which is formed due to the elongated leaves. It's just like cabbage. So but it is Chinese cabbage has a difference that it has a little loose and elongated head. So chromosome numbers being all have 18, but this Chinese cabbage has 20. Nextly, coming to the introduction, the sprouting broccoli, it is an Italian name. Broccoli itself means little arms. So it is an inflorescence. No, there are most branching is there. So these branching is nothing but little arms, or that's which is an Italian name, which means that broccoli. So USA is the largest producer of broccoli in the world. So nextly, Brussels sprout. You can see that the axils of the leaf there, these buds are formed. So these are also temperate vegetables and mostly grown in UK, northeast parts of the world. Next is Noel cole. Noel cole is mostly famous and important in the European countries, and you can even see in many parts of India. Nolkol, I don't know how many of you know, but in Jammu Kashmir and northern parts, cool temperate parts, very much it is grown. And nextly, the kale, which is also called as karam sag in general language, and it is mostly grown in Jammu Kashmir region. And nextly, Chinese cabbage, which is native to China. That's the reason why it is called as Chinese cabbage, and it is cultivated since the 5th century. So you can imagine how old crop it is, but it's not so popular actually. So coming to the uses, we all know, but the most important uses is broccoli is rich in antioxidants. So what it is very green in color. The color itself says that it is very much rich in vitamin A, which is 130 times more rich in vitamin A than cauliflower and 22 times more than cabbage. This is a very important point, and you can find it in any book, this point. And it is very rich in antioxidants, and those who are suffering from heart diseases and all, also it is very much essential. And next, we should not we should not boil the food, whatever it is. Even leafy vegetables are not recommended to be boiled for long time, because it loses all its nutritional quantities. So Brussels sprout is popular in European countries, as I have already mentioned, and it is rich in fiber. You need to remember that it is rich in fiber, low in calories, and used as anti-inflammatory. That is not required, but rich in fiber, you can remember that. And coming to Nolkol, which generally seems to be white in color, but it is a rich source of carotene. You have to, like, whitish to green color it is, but it is rich in carotene, vitamin C and E. So all these are quality aspects. You see, vitamin C, E and carotene are required for the quality aspects of our body. So they are rich in white dietary fiber, and it also contains the sulforaphane and other isothiocyanates, which is common to all the Brassicaceae members. Next is kale. It is the richest, highest source of vitamin A is kale. So you have to remember this point, that and it is a very winter. All the cold crops are winter season crops, and it is rich in vitamin C, A and C. You have to remember here. Nextly, so we can have many uses of Chinese cabbage. Here we have seen. And nextly, coming to the morphology. So we know that sprouting broccoli looks very similar to that of cauliflower. So what is the main difference? That broccoli has longer and slender kind of stems. In that means the main head is more longer, and and after, if you remove the head also, small heads will form. In cauliflower, if once you remove the head, you do not curd once, but the head portion, the portion of the head, if you once remove in cauliflower, again you will not find other heads popping up on it. But in broccoli, if you once remove the head portion, from sides small heads will be formed. Those heads are called as spears, and those are generally very loose and not so of high quality, but still, like ratoon crop, it is also taken in some parts of the world wherever it is cultivated. So nextly, here you can see the difference. It is mostly generally very loose, and here it is you can see those small, some are green here, but some are opened here. These are flowers which have opened, which are not opened. That is the difference. And the stem part means this stem part is generally long and slender for broccoli compared to cauliflower. So here you can see these are the opened flowers, these are the closed flowers, and it is overall an inflorescence. See, you can see when the main head is harvested, again small heads will come from the side. These are called as spears. So what is the main difference? So broccoli belongs to the Italian group, and cauliflower belongs to the Botrytis group. Brassica italica, you say italica, no? So it is an Italian group. You can remember like that, and it is Botrytis. Next, the inflorescence of broccoli is mostly loose and it is dispersed, whereas in cauliflower it is more compact and tight and bunchy. Where broccoli has very large green colored flowers, because we can see that the flower prominently, you can see the flower opened flowers and unopened flowers in the curd. Whereas in cauliflower, you do not see like that. It is a white colored flower head. It is completely one flowered head. Nextly, broccoli has more calories and compared to the cauliflower, and even folates it has. Folates are harmful or useful? I want the answer from the students. So whereas cauliflower has less calories compared to the folates compared to broccoli. So it contains more vitamin A, C, and K than cauliflower. So it is more nutritious than cauliflower because it has a green color. Colored things are always good and nutritious. So here we see the flowers, pods, and the seeds. So it is a typical siliqua, and the seeds and the flower all have the same. I have already mentioned it is tetradynamous in nature, but is 2 long stamens and 4 short stamens is a characteristic feature of the Brassicaceae family members. So they will, you should not get confused. It means 2, it is 2 plus 4 arrangement is there for the stamens. So which 2? 2 are long, 4 are short. You should not like 2 short, 4 long. You should not get confused. How many are short, how many are long? That is very important. You have to know. It's not just reading. A number of times I'm telling you, it is not just reading. You understanding the crop is very important. So here is the flower, and here we come to Brussels sprout. So generally Brussels sprout edible portion is those axillary buds which turn to 5 to 8 centimeters in diameter. When the axillary bud size is 5 to 8 centimeters, they will ask the maturity index, the size of Brussels sprout, then you have to tell that it is 5 to 8 centimeters. Nextly, Noel cole. So Noel cole has come from a German name for cabbage. So it is nothing cabbage turnip. So cabbage turnip, which is German name. So by that the name Noel Rabi has evolved. So which, because why it is called as Noel Rabi means it is generally looks like a turnip, the above ground turnip. It is similar to above ground turnip. So the German name called cabbage turnip, because it looks like cabbage also, it looks like turnip also. That is why it is called as Noel Rabi. So the freshly harvested enlarged stem portion is eaten, and it should not become fibrous. If you do not harvest Noel cole for a long time, it becomes fibrous and you cannot eat that. So the freshly harvested enlarged stems are edible there, and those edible portion, that round color edible portion, is called as knob. And nextly, knobs generally are different colors also, that is green, white, and purple. So different colors are also available. So here we see the lightish tingish, like it is almost white, but it is like tingish green. And nextly, purple colored ones also we will see in the coming up images. I'll show you. Kale. So it is kale is a non-heading member of the family. So it does not form any head. Cabbage forms, Noel Rabi, everybody has some or the other swollen part, but this kale does not has. So it is a non-heading member of the family with succulent leaves. Nextly, Chinese cabbage. In Chinese cabbage, we have pak choi, petsai, different classifications, which I will tell you now. So the Chinese cabbage, which is also called as the petsai brassica, and the Brassica chinensis is a non-heading type. So heading type and non-heading type. Heading type is called as petsai, and the non-heading type is called as pak choi. This pak choi means non-heading type, means only leafy ones, is which looks like celery. When you see it, it looks like celery. So it does not form any head. It is a leafy one, completely leaf. But head forming one is petsai. A non-head forming one is pak choi. You have to remember this. So same here also, you can see how the inflorescence has come up and the seeds. Coming to the nutritional importance. So what you see here, vitamin A content, they will ask in ascending order for the cole crops. This is a common question that comes in exams. So in ascending order, they will ask, then you have to give the highest value to be kale, followed by sprouting broccoli, followed by 701. Cauliflower, then Brussels sprout, and last comes the cabbage, followed by Noel cole. So protein content also, you can see that the highest in Brussels sprout. So they will not ask the protein content, but they will definitely ask the vitamin A content in ascending or descending order in cole crops. You have to see, you have to remember this. And nextly, the sprouting broccoli, we can see here that it is also full moisture. 89% means generally we read only that watermelon 94% water, strawberry 98% fruit edible. So like that, this here you can see that sprouting broccoli is completely, it is also very rich in moisture content. And we can see only important things you see, that is vitamin C content, and it is rich in calcium 103, iron. These are enough. enough, not more than that. And whereas Brussels sprout is also, I have already mentioned that it is a very rich source of fiber, you have to remember, and protein we have already seen in last slide. Protein you remember here, that is 4.4%. So whatever crop it is, if it is having anything very highest, then you remember it, that will be enough. And Nol coal also, it is rich source of minerals and not so important in general terms. You can see sulfur, commonly in every coal crop sulfur will be there, because coal crops are rich in sulfur. All the coal crops are rich in sulfur. That's the reason why when you cook cabbage, cauliflower or anything, you get a typical smell. If you boil cabbage, it will smell very badly. Why? Because if you eat it is okay, but while boiling at one stage of cooking, it will give very bad smell because of the presence of sulfur in it. Nextly, even onions are smell bad. Why? Because of the presence of sulfur in it. Kale, as I have already mentioned, that it is a rich source of vitamin A, that is 20,000 international units. Coming to the classification in sprouting broccoli, you have sprouting a head. If you see the head, there are two types of heads. What is sprouting broccoli? That's the reason, because this is very commonly seen. Sprouting, because it has many sprouts. Those flowers, that this is an inflorescence, right? This inflorescence has many sprouts. Whereas heading broccoli, you can see it's a compact single-headed type ones. So in sprouting broccoli also, you generally this type of is edible. That's the reason why we commonly call it sprouting broccoli. We have different varieties for sprouting broccoli and heading broccoli also, but the common thing is it is generally the crop name is broccoli only. If it's not audible or clear to anybody, you just let me know. Okay, if I'm speed also, you just tell me. So this is sprouting broccoli and this is heading broccoli. So here you can see the different broccoli classification. Like you can see how much variation is there. You have white here you can white sprouting broccoli, purple cape, and this is the calabrese, the common green colored one, calabrese, and the purple Cilician, Cove, black broccoli, purple sprouting. So all this will be asked in exam. You have to know the crop. You first try to understand the crop. This, okay, somebody asks, is there any purple cape or a purple, what is calabrese? Somebody asks, you don't know. Green sprouting broccoli is nothing but calabrese. The other name of green broccoli is calabrese. So you should know that. In question also, if they're asking calabrese, you should identify. And is broccoli available in black color? I don't know. So you have completed BSc, MSc, but you don't know if broccoli is available in black color or not. So black broccoli is also existing. So here we see the different types of broccoli and their characteristics. And this Cove is also very important type of broccoli, not in our place, but in Portugal and all. Calabrese is nothing but the green sprouting broccoli, is called as calabrese because of it is grown in the Calabrian region of the world. And we can see here different importance. They will not ask in exam all this kind of stuff. Only thing you have to remember is purple Cilician is in purple color, and it is also called as purple cauliflower. 1 point. Second is you have to remember white sprouting broccoli, which is also called as white spears. And all the coal crops are biennial in nature, that you have to remember. And purple cape, the name itself says it is purple in color, so there is easy to remember. You need not have much difficulty in that. Nextly, so broco flower. So what is broco flower? A cross between broccoli and cauliflower is called as broco flower, and it is mostly similar to cauliflower. It is mostly similar to cauliflower, and that looks somewhat like green cauliflower. It is mostly like it looks like cauliflower in the shape and size, but it is mostly green in color, so it looks like green cauliflower. And it is it's spiky floret spiral forming ovate fractal like pattern. So its flowers generally it gives means it looks very fractional. Means I will show you. See here, it looks very fractional, like fractions means parts. So see how it is coming. It is compact like a cauliflower, but it is fractionally coming. So this is called as broco flower, which is nothing a cross between broccoli and cauliflower. You have to remember it's not cauliflower into broccoli, but broccoli into cauliflower. See, sections. It is fragmental in appearance. So you can see here. Next is broccolini. So it's a cross between Chinese broccoli and broccoli. Chinese broccoli is called as gailan. So gailan into broccoli. So it is also called as baby broccoli. It is sold in the market in the name of baby broccoli. So it is more sweet. It's a little sweeter than the normal color. So this is the broccolini. So you can see this is Chinese broccoli into normal broccoli. And this is broco flower, this which we saw the segmental portion. And next is broccoli rape. So broccoli rape is broccoli, actually it is not from the it is completely different from the cruciferae family members with and it is known as rapini. Nextly, Calabrese broccoli, which I was telling you, green sprouting broccoli is also called as the Calabrese broccoli. That is what is mentioned here. And nextly, purple broccoli and sprouting broccoli. Sprouting broccoli is nothing but the sprouting broccoli which we commonly consume in the market, which we see in the market. And the purple broccoli is it looks like purple cauliflower, so it is also called as purple cauliflower. And nextly, Chinese cabbage classification, if you come, very important among all the minor cole crops, Chinese cabbage classification is more important. So if Chinese cabbage, so variety, if you go with the scientific name, so it is variety dissoluta, which has loose heads. And if it is semi-heading type, is called as infracta, and puffy topped is called as variety laxa. So it is loose head is called as variety dissoluta. Next, semi-heading type is called variety infracta, and fluffy topped head is called as variety laxa. So what name itself says loose head, no? So this terminal bud is loose, it is underdeveloped, it is not having strong well developed bud, but in semi-heading, so it forms a little well developed head. And fluffy topped heading, so it name itself says it is heading, so it has a well developed head in it. So because this is loose leafed, it has overlapping leaves which are rosette. So here also both of them have overlapping and rosette leaves, all of them, but the only thing is this will have a little looser arrangement of the leaves, usually grown in spring and summer. So if it is loose in nature, so when hot conditions, this is a matter of common sense here, compact things will not be grown in summer conditions because the compactness will be lost, it will become loose. That's the reason why this loose leafed one is grown in summer season, that is spring and summer. But when you see here, these compact types are not grown in summer because the common sense says, and if you grow at high temperatures, it will not be compact, it will become loose in nature. So they are grown in the months of late summer, early autumn, means in the late seasons, in the months of cool, when the temperatures are little cool compared to this section of loose leafed varieties. So when you come to the loose leafed varieties, this is the here you can see the loose leaf, means it is completely leafy in nature, there is no head point, there just leaves like coming. Here you can see, which we have also said as pak choi. Pak choi means only non-heading or leafy ones. This is petsai, means because they have head formation. This is semi-heading, means it is little compared to loose, little loose. Next, as other, if you come in heading also, you have different classification. In heading also, again, 3 types are there. That is Pharma species ovata, means oval shaped, flat topped are called as depressa, and cylindrical are called as cylindrica. So ovata has you need not remember where it has originated, what and all. You have to know that there is, in the Chinese cabbage, there are 2 classification, heading and non-heading. And again in heading you have 3 types, that is ovata, depressa and cylindrica. No, you have to at least know what are they. When you make notes of the crop, you just make note of this. And nextly, kale classification. These kind of questions, this classifications and all are asked in ARS exam. Kale classification, if you come in, this is not so important, you just have to remember the Chinese cabbage classification wise, but here you have to remember the scientific names. They will ask the scientific names. What is the scientific name of 1000-headed kale? In exam they will pakka ask these kind of questions. So like that you have to remember the scientific names here. That is curly kale, Brassica oleracea variety acifala, variety lancinata, and smooth leafed kale is variety acifala, and 1000-headed is variety millicapitata. Tree kale is variety acifala subspecies palmifera, and marrow stem kale is acifala variety medulosa. So pakka they will ask the scientific names by giving the common names. This you have to remember. And coming to broccoli varieties, so generally broccoli, you do not have Indian varieties so many, mostly there are foreign varieties only. And as in cabbage, you have here also early, mid and late season crop, and in that all these are see, these are all foreign country varieties, so you need not remember. There only they get eliminated. Only thing you have to remember is Palam Haritika and green sprouting late. So green sprouting late is also not important, but Palam Haritika, you by seeing itself you can say that it is an Indian name, so you have to remember. So on the basis of head formation, we have sprouting and heading types, right? So here sprouting types, we Palam Samriddhi, Palam Harita, Pusa Broccoli. Again, you need not remember Apollo and Santee, not at all required. These are private sector, not required. You just remember these varieties, Indian variety, these Indian hybrids, that will be enough for you. And where they have developed from. So Palam has come. So it where it comes from, you have to just know where Palam means it comes from, prefix comes from. And on heading type, we have Palam Kanchan and Palam Vichitra. So just to remember that Kanchan means it is yellow color, and Vichitra is purple color. Remember the color and remember the Indian varieties. That is enough. So nextly, heat tolerant varieties are there, which that is the reason why we are able to grow in South Indian conditions also. And side shoots producers means spear producing varieties are also there. These are all not required, need not remember. So next is specialty broccoli. So already I have discussed the specialty broccolis, that is Romanesco broccoli, which has fractorial appearance, which we have seen, and Brocoflower and Broccolina. You have to remember the crosses also, means cauliflower into Broccolina, broccoli into cauliflower, male and female. You should not get confused. You have to remember this. And here you can see the Palam Samruddhi and Palam Vichitra. The Palam Samruddhi is green in color, which is green sprouting broccoli, and purple sprouting broccoli is Palam Vichitra. So you can see the flowers, how beautifully they have opened. Here you can see. Next is Palam Haritika, which is a late variety, which we have already discussed. It is a late variety. And Palam Kanchan, which is a heading type. You see here how much difference is there. Here you can see the sprouts, but here there is no sprout. It is compact like cauliflower. Nextly, Pusa Broccoli 1, which is KTS 1, which is heat tolerant. Actually, Pusa Broccoli KTS 1 is heat tolerant. In next is Valtham 29. These are all not required because they will be generally the private. So nextly, we have the blue wild. These are all just you have to see, means you will never see the images, so I have just put the images, but these are all not important exam point of view. So the Desico, you might see Desico variety a lot of times in your other books, no? Gloucester's Instant and all the variety Desico is mentioned many times. So Marathon. So these are all commercial hybrids, not required. So purple sprouting broccoli, see how beautifully the sprouts have come. This is purple Cilician, which is also called as purple cauliflower. Purple Cilician is also called as purple cauliflower. This is an important bit. So next is Rapini Rab 1, which is a leafy type. You can see it's a completely leaf type. Next is Apollo Romanesco, which is a specialty type 1, and Bay Meadows Cream. So not required. You need not remember the varieties, but you just remember, see the images and leave it. Varieties for Brussels sprout, if you come, so only very limited number of varieties: Hills Ideal, Rubine, and Jade Cross. Only 3. That's it. Over. Hills Ideal, Rubine, and Jade 3, and some other important varieties you can see for short and long in your Gloucesters and all. So if you can remember, you remember ordinals. They will not ask, but these 3 in exam you will definitely see these 3 mostly than other varieties. So Long Island, Red Bull, Flower Sprout. See how it is looking. It is. And nextly, the bread. In this again, you need not remember Braden, Crepus, Cascade. Cascade you have to remember. Cascade, mostly they will ask. Darkmar. So how do I remember so many varieties? They are foreign names. In Brussels sprout there is no Indian variety, so you no option that you have to remember the foreign names only. But so many foreign names are there. Which one is important? Which one should I remember? You just give a glance on the varieties and refer number of question papers. If you see question papers, you will automatically know that which questions are mostly coming. So which are the varieties of Brussels sprout that is commonly asked? That's the reason why I said Hilda, Ideal, Rubine are most commonly. How I could see these three are important. Cascade is important. Means number of question papers if you do every day, you'll get to know. Okay, broccoli mein only these questions they are asking. They are not asking this bread and F1. They will not ask. So you will automatically come to know. That's the reason why you have to be in subject and do number of bits every day. So creepers, cascade, darkmer, early, half tall. So why image I am putting for the variety, you have to remember half tall is a variety of Brussels sprout only. I saw the variety because you see the image, you will all remember. Okay, half tall I saw, there was Roshni kept an image where there were Brussels sprout standing, so it is a variety of Brussels sprout only. You will remember better. That's the reason I have put. And nextly fill basket. So why fill basket? Basket is the name is fill basket, so this image will make you remember that fill basket is a variety of Brussels sprout only. Next is varieties of Knoll Cole. If you come to varieties of Knoll Cole, the first the F1 hybrid Indam Jumbo. So name itself says it's from Indam company. It's a private company name, so not remember. Indam Early White, Pusa Virat you have to remember because the other two were private ones. But next is private ones also you have to remember. Why Teja, Tejasvi 4 in Chile you have to remember those. Why? Because they are private ones which are highly successful, very successful private varieties. No option, we have to remember. That's what I am telling in every class, that which is common in India, which is popular in India, what is happening in India in terms of varieties, which is popular, that only they will ask, though it is private or public. But 99.999% they will ask public questions only, like public sector varieties only in the exam. So Pusa Virat they will ask, important. And why? And it does not form fiber also on maturity. So Pusa Virat is a very important question. Number of times you will see in number of question papers this question. And white Vienna, name itself says it is white in color. Purple Vienna, next it will come. So this is Kerala, which is a private variety. And Palam Tender Knob, you have to remember this because it is from Palam and it is Indian. Next is Chinese cabbage. Chinese cabbage, if you come, this is Chinese cabbage. It is leaf type. Again, I'm telling you, leaf type pak choy. So this is Palampur green. It is leaf type. And coming to kale, so draft, green curled Scotch, draft, moss curled, and hamburger market, and other varieties of kale you can see. This is dinosaur kale, and this is dinosaur kale. Commonly they will ask in exams, you see, because the name is interesting, so they'll ask in exam. So premier, red Russian, and weights blue curled. So sometimes somebody will send you an image just because you are doing MSc or PhD or you are done horticulture, so they will ask you which crop is this. I don't know, kale ka image, the kale image should be like this. No, this is also kale only. So a matter of common sense, you have to know, okay, this, if somebody sends you an image, you should at least be able to identify it. So this is ornamental kale. You can, I don't know in how many places it is grown or not, but in North India, I think in South only it is grown. In North Pakka it would have been grown. That these are grown in the borders. In the borders they put this ornamental kale. Even in our institute it is there. And next, coming to the production technology aspects. So we all know pro-tray method advantages. I have already discussed in the onion class. What are the advantages of a pro-tray? And nextly, here you can see portable low tunnels. So generally all the crops that we are discussing here are coal crops. So coal crops are winter crops or temperate crops. So temperate crops for means you are growing in cool temperature, then the seed germination and growth will be very slow. So as to the growth, for growth and development it requires low temperature, no problem. But for germination, it minimum optimum temperature of 18 to 20 should be there. So for that, and you are growing in some very cold Shimla like area, then you don't get that temperature. For that reason, generally low tunnels and other methods are used to increase the germination percentage of the seed. So this is a low tunnel method, which is, see how it is half of a man. You can see it is half of a man, and it is used for seed germination in many crops. So nextly, nutrient film technique. If you want class on this nursery management and this importance of these different kind of things, like the nutrient management, like what do you call this, aquaponics, aeroponics, and all kind of things. Also there is a very good material I have. So nutrient film technique and what is the importance, what is the difference, that is also there with me. Nextly, coming to the important part to the class, that is temperatures and the economic parts. In the exam point of view, broccoli 10 to 15 degrees temperature, Brussels sprout is also 10 to 15, Noel Robi is 15 to 18 degrees, and Chinese cabbage is 15 to 21 degrees. Are Babu, anta, sorry, all the temperatures are in 10, 15, 10, 15. How do I remember? You need not remember it is 10 to 15 only. Remember the range, that 10 to 20. You remember 20, 10 to 20. So that will be enough, not more than 20 degrees. And even at 10 degrees, the crop will come. This common sense you have to remember. And what happens if the temperatures go high or low? So generally, if it is broccoli, the buds get opened up, they become loose and they open. If it is Brussels sprout, what will happen? The head is not at all formed. The small axillary heads are not formed. And if it is Noel Rabi, the quality is deteriorated. How it is deteriorated? It becomes fibrous and it will deteriorate. And if it is Chinese cabbage, then what it will do? At high temperatures, the bolting will start. So these are the problems that will occur if the temperature fluctuation is there. Nextly, soil pH. Again, you have to remember that mostly alkalinity is resisted by only Chinese cabbage. Others all come under acidic conditions of 5.5 range only. And coming to the climatic conditions, now you can generally remember that the temperature required is 15 to 25 degrees for the growth conditions. Here you have told the it is 10 to 20. Now here you are telling 50 into maximum 20, 25. How do you decide the range? How do you remember the range? It is just the practice. If in practice I can write in exam what the temperatures, but it is just the practice. That's it. I can't say anything for this. You come to know about the crop if you are in the crop. Nextly, if it is a minor crop, most important thing, as I have already told you, scientific name, chromosome number, basic things are very important for minor crops. So here seed rate, spacing, these kind of things are important. So seed rate you have to remember, spacing you have to remember, but this FIM nutrient content is not required. So what is the seed rate? 400 to 500 grams for broccoli, 300 to 400 grams for Brussels sprout, 1 to 1.5 kg for Noel kale, and Chinese cabbage 600 to 750 grams. And in exam point of view, do not remember temperature. You can remember in a range, no problem. But here in seed rate, you should not remember in the kind of range. Here in exam, you have to pakka, you have to you have to what do you call? Remember the exact range of the temperatures. Sorry. You have to exactly remember the range of seed rate. Seed rate temperature, you can just 1 or 2 degrees that side, this side, because it's not so stable. But seed rate, you have to remember that same numbers. That is 400 to 500 grams means in exam option that will only be there. You have to take 400 to 500 grams only. Be very specific and remember this. And nextly, spacing also, you can see broccoli is almost a cabbage spacing only. In spacing also chalta hai. You just need to remember the range of 60 into 45 centimeters. If it is root crops, it will be only 30 into 15 or 30 into 10. Like that, if you remember the range, that will be enough. But seed rate is specific. You have to remember the seed rate only. So coming to intercultural operations, so which is important in any crop, important intercultural operations you have to remember. So if you So if you remember, if what are the intercultural operations, necessarily all the crops need earthing up here. So earthing up is the most important thing, because you have to keep the head standing. You have to keep the leaf standing. Here no blanching practice, nothing is done, but earthing up is a common important practice, and generally it is done after 2 months, that is almost 45 days. After 45 days nursery time will be there, and again after that 45 days. So almost 2 months ho gaya wahan pe, 2 to 3 months. So you have to do the see here 30 days after transplanting, that is 40 days. You remember 35 to 40 days. Why she is telling all ranges, how I will remember in exam means, this is if you read, and if you understand the crop, automatically it's just the range. Nobody is going to ask 30 days or not. exam, generally they will ask 35 to 40 days. You common sense tells after 60-70 days you will not do earthing up, there is no use. Common sense tells that 10 or 15 days I will not do earthing up because the header will not be formed. It is in the average period or the middle period. That's the reason why they have given 30 to 40 days will be the range. Common sense, you should read with common sense. Nextly, harvesting and yield. Again, this is also very peculiar thing. Harvesting is you have to have, yield you need not remember, but harvesting indices will be there, no, that you have to remember. Like for what Brussels sprout, you have to remember that 5 to 8 centimeters when the small axillary buds develop, then you have to take like that, you have to remember. No, same here, broccoli 300 to 500 grams is the average size. Very big broccoli they won't prefer, and for Knoll cole it is 200 to 250 grams. These two are very important points. You have to remember that it is 300 to 500 grams and 200 to 250 grams. Yield are the questions that come in NET exam but not in JRF SRF exams. They like worst papers will only have yield. Next is storage, very important. Very specifically you have to remember the storage conditions, that is 0 to 5 degrees and 95 to 100% RH. Very, very, very important. Next is weed control. So these things you can read general common sense. Commonly you have to read in general questions also. So pre-plant spray. So it is a Besalin 2 kg per hectare. So some common recommendations you have to read. I cannot tell in every crop that this is important, this is sprayed, this is not sprayed, because commonly Besalin is always given in 2 kg per hectare, not 100 kg per hectare or 30 kg per hectare. So next is you can remember some butachlor will be always in 1.5 kg range. So you have to just remember the range of the numbers. You should not be very blind enough that okay, Besalin is given in 10 kg per hectare, so you should not know be like that. You should at least know that its range. And nextly, coming to the nutrient analysis, which is not so important, but for for SRF exam they will ask, but for JRF exam they won't ask. For SRF exam, for our IAR exam also they asked us for beta carotene extraction. After doing that in spectrophotometer, what is the range of nanometers, at what nanometers wavelength will you see the spectrophotometer, was the question for us. So under very difficult question papers for not for JRF but for SRF, they will ask these questions. So for nutrient analysis, the part 2 of broccoli is used as young mature leaf at the first bud formation stage, and for Brussels sprout it will be the young mature leaf at the mid growth stage. So here first bud and the mid growth, mid mature leaf. So you have to know for SRF purpose, because worst question papers can have any kind of questions and you cannot take any chance. And coming to the special cultural operations, as I have already mentioned, special cultural operation in whatsoever crop it is, you have to remember. So topping for Brussels sprout. So what happens if you remove the axillary part of the Brussels sprout, then side branches will come. For that side branches, again axillary buds will be there, no? So you will get more economic yield there. And blinding is an operation is Chinese cabbage. So generally blinding is a physiological disorder in case of cauliflower. Cauliflower, when the head is not formed, then it is called blinding is a physiological disorder of cauliflower. And blinds are formed in capsicum. Generally capsicum seeds have a major problem. If you just sow them, blinds will germinate. Blinds germination means root will be formed but shoot will not be formed. So that kind of germination problem is called as blinds, and that is found in capsicum. And blinds are also found in cauliflower, which is head is not formed in the cauliflower. So this kind of things, why I am telling you, it is all common knowledge. You have to know these all practices and all. Already your BSc teachers might have told. My teachers, some are good, some are bad. My BSc teachers, I'm telling you. Now I have very good teachers. But my BSc teachers, some are good, some are bad. I could not learn properly. I was also not mature enough to, maybe they taught me, I did not listen, I don't know. So these are all kind of things. When you're extra time you're putting and you want to learn some stuff, then you be very conscious and be very attentive. So only 7 members are there in the class. I don't know others what they are doing, but they will question, I want class, but they will not come to class. So in case of broccoli, it is here in crisp. I have mentioned the varieties, the spacing, the days to harvest, and all kind of thing. If you want to read, because this will be provided to you, then you can read. I can't make ones for you to read, ones for present, no. So this is a common thing. And nextly, here for Nol call also it has been presented. You have to remember the two important operations: stopping and this blinding. Blinding is just to cover. It's a kind of blanching only. That is done in Chinese cabbage. Next. So see how beautiful branches you can identify here in broccoli. So this. So this is pak choi or pet sai? This is leaf. So it is pak choi. Chinese cabbage, you can see how it is pak choi, as I have already mentioned, pak choi. So this is wong bok. It is a Chinese. It is also a type of Chinese cabbage only. See, heading type of Chinese cabbage. How the head is formed, how the leaf rolls are formed, and kale. Different types of kale. This is dinosaur kale, that wrinkled one. We have different types of kale, and Nol call purple colors are also available. So generally all the coal crops are long day types. They are not short day types. Are winter mein grow karte hain, so how it is long day? It is they are not means how much hour of day length they require. Winter you grow because of the temperature, not because of the light. So for temperature you grow in winter, but the amount of light hours it requires is long day conditions. It requires more than 12 hours or 14 hours. So it is a long day plant. All coal crops. Generally inflorescence of coal crops are called as raceme. It is a raceme, except broccoli, which is a cyme. So generally they are less tolerant to soil acidity. That's the range why we are also having a alkalinity of about 7 pH is also there in coal crops. So these are less tolerant to soil acidity. And nextly, kale is highly tolerant to soil salinity. Means even under high salt conditions also you can grow kale. And next, all coal crops are generally shallow rooted crops, that is up to only 30 to 60 centimeters of root spread, and water requirement is generally very high for coal crops. Respiratory activity, because it's completely leaf, so respiration is through stomata, no. So completely leaves are edible part. Leafy modifications, stem modifications, generally green parts are more in coal crops. So respiratory activity is also generally very high. So in that, especially Brussels sprout and sprouting broccoli are very high in respiration, and if they're high in respiration, they are low in shelf life. So that you can remember. Next, I have already mentioned, very important, all the coal crops are tetradynamous in nature. That is, they have special kind of anthers where you can see here, it is didynamous, it is tetradynamous. What here? You have 4 long, and I was telling in reverse, no, I'm sorry. So 4 long and 2 short, whereas didynamous, general stamens, generally that is 2 short and 2 long. Here tetradynamous means 4 long and 2 short. Very important. You have to remember this. And the special pod is called as siliqua. And father of coal crops in India is Dr. Preetham Kalia, and Palam series of varieties were developed by Preetham Kalia only. So the Palam, Haritika, Palam, Vichitra, so all this Palam have come from Dr. Preetham Kalia. So in interview for me, they asked, who are the famous scientists? What are the famous contributions of the scientists? They will ask. My horticulture interview I have gone, and means for IRI, then I will only tell vegetables, means your story won't run for a long time, because you have to have a common knowledge, a holistic knowledge of the crop and horticulture. So they asked famous scientists and their contributions. Then you should know that who is Preetham Kalia and what are the Palam series are developed by Preetham Kalia. So all the Brassicaceae members contain the glucosinolates. When you crush the leaves, if you break the leaf, if you generally see undamaged leaf will not have glucosinolates. If after crushing, when the enzyme myrosinase with the activity of myrosinase only, that glucosinolates are reduced. So all the Brassica species contain glucosinolates, which is crushed leaves are broken by the enzyme of myrosinase to give a better taste and goitrogenic substance. So nextly, salt index, very very important. All the major so a measure of salt content, that is C index. So based on how means C index is how much soil, in how much amount of soil, salt conditions means how much saline soils the crop can be grown is known as C index, means how much of salt it can tolerate, that is the salt content in the soil the crop can tolerate. So we have already told that kale can grow in high saline soils, so high C index is high for kale, that is C8. It's how do you calculate the C index? That is number of grams of salt per liter of soil moisture gives the C index. So coal crops are mostly used because for the prevention of cancer due to the presence of indoles and dithiothiols. And broccoli contains sulforaphane, glucoraphanin, and camiferol, which acts as anti-cancer properties. So generally we say indoles, isothiocyanates, but for broccoli in specific, you have to the form of that anti-cancerous property is in the sulforaphane. And so toxic compounds in coal crops is due to sinigrin, and the colored rich variety is Palam Vichitra, that is purple color. I have also showed the images, and these are highly cross-pollinated. Complete coal crops are highly cross-pollinated with a pollination amount of more than 12%. And all the coal crops have the sporophytic self-incompatibility present in them, and I have already mentioned that they are protogynous in nature. It is mentioned wrong here. It is. And nextly, the level of inbreeding depression is generally moderate, and we have also the GMS and CGMS systems available in the coal crops. Next, Brussels sprout and sprouting broccoli contain the Ogura cytoplasm, because from which actually from radish, this Ogura cytoplasms, male sterile Ogura cytoplasm was first observed in radish, from which it has been transferred to the different coal crops. In that, in Brussels sprout and sprouting broccoli also, commercially this Ogura cytoplasm is used. Means how it is used means that sterile cytoplasm is transferred and commercial hybrids are produced with the help of, I don't know, I think the MSc students will understand. I don't know if JRF students can understand this or not. You should, that's the reason I'm telling you should listen to your BSc classes properly. I'm not telling any rocket science here, I'm just telling normal ones, but you should know what is the male sterility, how male sterility is used in hybrid seed production. That's then you will understand Ogura cytoplasm is commercially exploited in sprouting broccoli and Brussels sprout, or else you will not understand. You will feel, this girl is telling somewhere some space science, but I'm not telling anything. You should know, if you know male sterility, if you know the use of male sterility in hybrid seed production, this point you will understand. Or else blindly, if you read in instant lost us, I am telling the same point, no use. So it is up to you. That's the reason I'm telling you. That day also I told you what is the difference between trichoderma and trichogramma. Nobody messaged in the group. You don't know means you have to see and read. That's it. Next is morphological markers. So what are morphological markers? What are physiological markers? What are molecular markers or biochemical markers? I don't know. If you don't know all this, you just tell me in group that you want class on that particular thing. Then I will prepare notes and I will tell you. But without knowing what is morphological marker, and I am telling this point, morphological marker is glossy leaf, then it is no use. No use for means you are not eligible for being called as a master or a doctor. You have to know what it is first, then only you will understand. I will just bring up important points from the crop. Means it is a holistic subject. You have to, it is insects, pest damage, it is the breeding, all together. Only vegetable will come directly. Vegetable is not anything you will read. I will read vegetable means it is not going to happen. So I hope, I don't know you know or not what are morphological, biochemical and molecular markers, what are the advanced markers, what are scar markers, what are strap markers, what are CASP markers, not RFLP, RAPD, that zamana gaya. You have to know different markers also. And morphological markers, I can just tell like this. If I tell the marker class only, then you will understand. I don't know how many of you are understanding this or not. If you're not understanding, take out your books and first start reading what are markers. And in Chinese cabbage, the genome used is 283.8 mbp mapping population that is used. Means what is sequencing, what is resequencing, what are the crops sequenced, why, what is the use of sequencing. These are all also very important. They will ask what is the first sequenced tomato crop, that is Hinds 1. This is all I cannot tell in this, no, in vegetable part. You have to read. I don't know how many of you know or not. I'm worried about that. So next is major acid that is present in broccoli is malic acid. These are general points, but important. The biotechnology, breeding, and all are important in vegetables. You have to know. So GMS is controlled by a recessive gene, that is MS, in broccoli and cauliflower. And cytoplasm of Agura male sterile radish was introduced into the nucleus of cabbage by crossing. I have already mentioned that it was first found in radish. And the problem with Agura is it is very mild, and it gives, means if you transfer this male sterility, along with male sterility, the linkage is there that chlorosis will come. So if it is coming chlorosis, nobody will buy that cabbage. No, array, this is looking very pale, so they will not buy. So that is the main problem with the Agura male sterile cytoplasm. The Bhavesh, can you
Yes, ma'am.
respond?
Yes, ma'am.
You know you know what is male
By
sterility?
mistake. By mistake.
No. I'm asking you question. You know what is male sterility? What is Agura
Yes,
cytoplasm?
ma'am. Ma'am,
Markers.
I know male sterility, but not with that what you have said, Agura marker.
That's
I
the
have
reason.
listened. I have listened first time.
See, that's the problem. You have to read by yourself, not only Bhavesh, because I know that he is an SRF aspirant and Anuj is not there in the class.
I'm there, ma'am.
Anu is present, ma'am.
The signal is fluctuating. I'm sorry. Okay, I will wind up. It is almost done actually.
I'm present, ma'am. Anuj is present.
Anuj is present. Okay. You know.
Yes, ma'am.
I see
Yes,
your name
ma'am.
list. So you know what I was speaking about, all those markers and all kind of stuff. You are understanding?
Yes, ma'am. Some statements I understand, ma'am, like self-incompatibility, heterostyle, and the molecular markers are new to me, ma'am. I heard it first time.
We will take class. How many JRF students do you know? What are markers and all? So that I'll plan a class. Anybody? They can tell definition. What is it? No, I don't want a pakka definition. I'm not a teacher. The exam, I'll not give any marks. No, don't worry. But if you don't know, we will have a class, guys. That is very important. That is what is happening. If you, what research will you do if you don't know? So actually, this is. Yes, somebody responded. Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I don't know.
Yes, very good, very good. If you don't know, then we will have a we will have a class on it, because that's very important. If now I'm telling this, you will not understand anything if you don't know what they are. So generally male sterility is controlled by recessive genes, and these are the genes. If it is recessive, it is written in small alphabets. So MS are all the MS is written in small alphabets only.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, we want some basic breeding classes also.
Some
Like-
basic breeding classes.
Yes, ma'am.
What I basically think, guys, these all things you can
Like-
only read.
like molecular marker, ma'am.
what I am thinking, we will take classes on concepts only. That will be more important. If broccoli is rich in malic acid, it is a deep rooted crop, shallow rooted crop. If I tell, if you read, it is the same thing. That will not make the difference. The only thing it will make difference is you should know the concept so that you can understand and those things better. If now you will read this broccoli is male sterility 1, if you don't know why it is small letter, why it is male sterility 1, why not 2, then how? So I think we will take classes only on concepts. Crops you can also read if you have any doubts, or you can
Yes, yes, ma'am. Only
read.
concept.
Concepts are more important.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm to teach. I'm not feeling good now because I know that the previous points you did not understand. Then what is the use of taking the class? And all these you won't understand. Then this is very high.
Yes, ma'am. Excuse, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, I want to ask that. I want to ask, ma'am. Should I go for basic breeding for Harihar Ram book or a Fundan Singh?
For basic breeding, take BD
For
Singh.
my basic breeding.
BD Singh, not Harihar Ram. Take breeding.
Okay.
Harihar Ram is a vegetable breeding book that will not give you basic knowledge of the breeding section. Take BD Singh and read first. In MSc, I have read BD Singh, and you guys know all these PPTs which I'm telling you. These are all my MSc PPTs. Means in MSc, I have done these PPTs. Means this much of information I have, 90% of this information I have collected in MSc only. Means you should understand. Means by that time we have read all this. You should know. Just I have paid to the academy. I will depend on the classes is not the criteria. You might think why this girl is getting frustrated and she's telling you read means I feel like there is a need of holistic approach in reading. It is not what the class, no class can do. No Akash Academy, that academy, nothing can do. Only your approach towards your subject will help you in any exam. I will not tell. I will stop here because these all you will not understand. Next class, I will not take on crops. Rather, I will take on concepts first. Then we will go. Okay, then
Ma'am,
nothing. Yeah, ma. Yes.
ma'am, we are reading with the Fundan Singh for the basic breeding. The
That is
basic
also good. That is also very good. Pundan Singh is good. Means very simple language. Okay, and I want some advanced and high number of pages also I can read. Means you go for BD Singh. So BD Singh, Pundan Singh, both. Pundan is very simple language. I also like instantly if you want to read Pundan Singh.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? Then I will stop here, guys, because all I have put breeding only, and breeding and biotech only is going to be your main thing in any exam, coming up exams. These are all normal things only. So insect pests I will come. Okay, that we will cover later. Those sterility part and all. So here we know cabbage butterfly, white cabbage butterfly, that is Pyrus brassicae, diamond backmouth Plutella xylostella, and for this mustard is used as a trap crop, and mustard sawfly Athelia lugens proxima. Scientific names are very important. You have to remember. Read number of times, you will automatically know the things. And nextly mustard aphids, that is Laphis. These two are not important. This painted bug and mustard aphid are not important. The other three, that is the white butterfly, diamond backmouth, and mustard sawfly, are important. These three scientific names you have to remember. They are not important. So cabbage butterfly ka damage, you can see how it is skeletonizing. And diamond backmouth also, I have already mentioned all this in the cabbage section. So these are common pests attacking, so you need not worry. Aphids are sucking pests, so you can see the aphids. And coming to diseases, damping off in any crop it will come. It's not coal crop, it's not anything. Downy mildew, again in specific coal crops, downy mildew is a major disease, that is Paranospora parasitica. And black rot, why commonly I have mentioned, even in cabbage, cauliflower, all the call crops the same diseases will come, and you have to remember the scientific names of the disease. So downy mildew symptoms, you can see purplish color in the back side and white yellowish color on the upper side, while as powdery mildew, name itself says powdery growth. So you have to know all this because you have completed BSc. Means in BSc all these subjects are there, no? Pest management in vegetables, pest management in fruit crops, everything you have to learn. You have learned actually all your BSc exam only they will keep in any stage. Black rot, black leg, so black spot, So these are normal references. Yeah, I will take the concept classes in the next coming up weeks rather than focusing on the crops first. Then you will easily understand the other things. Okay, I will end the class here. If you have any doubts, you can ask now or in the group also. Anybody, any doubts? So no response, or I don't have signal. Hello?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, okay then. If you have any doubts, you ask in the group, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, guys. Okay, good night.
Okay, ma'am. Good.